turned around and did the same crap to Lindsay that she did to Brooke. This is where I'm going to have to disagree because, once again, we have to remember the art of no. The art of no means you're not into it. You don't want to participate. You don't like it. You are far from that notion. You don't even want to go into the ballpark. You don't want to touch the little pretty acronym fences that lead into the ballpark. You don't want to be anywhere in that game. You're ready to move on. You are ready to just let it be what it is and move on and go away and not even think about it ever again. Now, the art of no is very classy because when a man or a woman respects you enough to understand that your answer is and always will be no up until a point until you change your mind, that is when you have a winner. And a winner always knows when to leave the party. When you're not there, but your partner is there and you say no, this is when you move on. And this is when your partner moves on. And at that point, when Peyton said no to the marriage proposal, Lucas was like, let me sit here. Let me hold you. Let me watch you sleep for a couple of minutes before I hop on the plane and go on about my business. Now, the backslide between that is that he did go back to Brooke at the time and did make out with her. But Brooke caught herself. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at you making adult decisions. You've grown. You've blossomed. You have had an amazing transformation. And no longer do you annoy me like you have been annoying me for the past 4 years. Because honestly, let's be real. After so many times repeating yourself, how many times do you have to learn? It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's just not going to be there anymore. It's just not there. So she learned and she moved on and she progressed to become a fashion empire. Nobody's mad because once again, going back to my original person, Lucas said no. And at that moment in time, what he did fall back into a pattern. And that did prove one part to this never-ending theory that Lucas and Peyton cheated on Brooke and hurt her little feelings. No, this is the one time where Lucas actually did go back to Brooke and prove that point. Now, the point of it was he was trying to hurt Peyton intentionally this time because she hurt him. The first time, now the first time is different because Peyton said no. She said no. But if you go back to the first few episodes, because I have to correct myself, Peyton was an open question mark. She was making eyes, she was flirting, she was doing all the things, but Brooke always came out strong with the yes. So when she finally got to Lucas in that bedroom and she said, no, I can't let this be what it is, and walked down on her, it went back to the same situation. Peyton said, no, I still want to be with somebody. There's somebody out there for me. Brooke is there with a yes. Now, here's where Lindsay comes in. When Brooke said no, Lucas did not press her about it. He just let himself be sad. And after he moved on from that little situation, and I'm assuming after a good time period of like 8 months to a year, him and Lindsay were spending all this time together, and they was home skillets and biscuits, editing the book, rewriting the book, going over and over and over and over again with this book. And he calls Peyton. He calls Peyton to come see him on his day of glory. I published the book. I've proven myself. I want to be with you again. Peyton walks in to the book signing, sees Lindsay kiss Lucas on the cheek, and she assumes they are together. Once again, when you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. Making an ass of herself. Leaving the building to run into Julian while Lucas and Lindsay ride off into the sunset for marriage. Now, this marriage is promised. This marriage is there. The engagement hasn't come forth, but it's going there. It's right there around the ballpark. It's right there, like they in the same situation. Peyton and Julian do not work out because none of Peyton's relationships do, because she's always been into Lucas. She's always going to be into Lucas. She's carrying this book around forever. But the thing with Lindsay is, she always said this to Lucas. She said, I was always rooting for you and Peyton, always and forever. True love always. Nobody's mad at that. True love always. Powerful. But the thing about that is for Lindsay to be classy like she is, her mindset is not determined like Brooke. It's not a teenage girl perspective. This is a grown woman on her shit. Now, if most women would be on this type of shit, they would have no problems. But they ain't on their shit. Ask me about certain women I listen to on YouTube and on podcasts. They be really on this. If you ain't with it, move on. Lindsay's on her shit. Her mind is set, and she's like, I'm being everything that I'm not supposed to be. I'm dyeing my hair. I'm single white femaling. I'm doing all this different shit to make sure I can keep you. And I'm like, what is going on here? I own a damn company. I got things to do. And then she finally's like, oh, he gives me the ring. And you know that part of you that's always in that relationship where you're just like, oh my goodness, there was so much love. Please be there for me. Please let it be. And then finally that realization hits and you're like, oh my God, the innuendos are still there. They're still right there sitting on the cookies. Right there on the cookie. Like it's like a booger on my cookie. And I have to be a grown woman and understand that even though I love you, you're not in love with me. And as a woman in this dress, in front of all these people, I have to make that pretty clear that even though I love you, you're not in love with me. And not being in love with me means that I'm in a one-sided relationship. Because you can love somebody and not be in love. And that causes one-sided relationships a lot. So when you watch Lindsay run out of that building with the balls dressed, just clinging to them fingers because she's booking it, and she hands him back that ring, that is not the same thing. Brooke and Lindsay are on two different levels. Brooke, when she was trying to get Lucas, was trying to hurt Lucas, was trying to hurt Peyton, was trying to help herself and move on about business because she is the prom queen. Lindsay, she had Lucas for 3 to 4 whole years without Peyton, minding their business, Christmases, birthdays, Thanksgivings, dinners with Haley and Nathan, going through Nathan's tragedy, father's death. Like, they're in an adult relationship. This is different. When Brooke's hurt, she's hurt because she couldn't get her way. When Lindsay's hurt because she's hurt. She put a lot of things into Lucas. He put a lot of things into her. They are in an adult relationship, which is why I always say I'm not mad at Lucas for trying to marry Lindsay, because at the same time, Peyton's still in that teenage love, and her teenage love has not transcended from teenage love. Like, it's literally right there. Like, it's at the moment where it stopped, where she was talking down to it, and she was like, I'm not ready. This ain't it. It just ain't going to be right now. Now, with Lindsay, that's a grown woman being on her business. Like, she's on this level of saying, my subconsciousness is seeing it, my mental state and my heart are not compatible with who I am as a woman. I don't want to second guess myself with somebody I'm with. And even when she does say, I still love you and I still miss you, that's all wonderful and good. But at the same time, after season 6, and she finally gets the revelation that he is going to marry Peyton, and he is done with her, she sends him off to somebody else and moves on about her life because she ain't got time for that no more. Lindsay and Brooke are not the same, and they never will be. Brooke was on her child shit. Lindsay's on her grown woman shit. And as a woman, you should always know when to step down, because when you are not on simpatico, you got to step down and move on. Don't embarrass yourself trying to act foolish.